Whenever we encounter the death of a loved one, or even the death of a famous celebrity or public figure, it is usually followed by a lot of philosophizing about death and life. Our philosophy of life influences the way we live. This is why God gave us an in-depth insight into death and life. In this book, I will try to give you God's perspective of death. His perspective on death gives us the best perspective on life. When I talk about death, yes, I am referring to the cessation of life in the natural sense, but the fear of death, which we need to overcome, is a fear that is much more than the cessation of life. Death is separation from life, the separation from loved ones, from the hopes and the dreams of the future, from the experience of the present. I believe that the fear of death in this form also informs our perspective on loss, a loss of a friendship, marriage, money, the failure of a project, the loss of a prized possession. I am looking at death as a separation from life as you know it. Studies of the brain tell us that in our 20s we stop learning. Our brains get lazy. Unless we make a conscious decision to make learning a regular part of our lives, we spend the rest of our lives defending the knowledge we have acquired so far. We grow accustomed to a particular way of thinking, a particular perspective of life, and we fight to defend it. Sometimes, even when what we know is toxic, we stick with it because we can't bear the thought of being separated from it. In my time working with people through different stages of life, I have seen people hold on to abusive relationships, dead-end jobs, toxic friendships, and illogical philosophies, simply because it is what they have always known. And the thought of separation from life as they know it is unbearable. I believe that the will of God for us is that death always paves the way for life. God allows separation from something so that we can be separated into something else. To live fearful of death is to live exempting yourself from the real joys of life. We don't live by avoiding death. We embrace death to begin living. I am writing this book because I realize that many of us live avoiding death. But are you really living if you haven't looked death in the eye? I hope this book gives you the courage to do so.